Yes, it's that time again, the dreaded time, cleaning the bike. God. Let's learn how to clean the bike. No, I won't do that to you. We'll just have a little talk, and you can watch me clean the bike, and then you can learn how to do it practically. Now, in a previous video, I talked about an accident with a car. I was hit by a car. I thought we'd talk about it a bit more, and you can enjoy the bike get cleaner and cleaner. Now, first of all, you might see the kettle. I know that's not for the cup of tea. I'll show you. Just boiled some water, and I'm going to try not to get 3rd-degree burns, but this is what I do. You must be crazy. Now, I tend to find that using some boiling water, when you start cleaning the chain, it really brings out the grit and dirt. Now, here in suburbia, you may hear noises around, so. Now, I never take the chain off because I can't be bothered, and Shimano chain, it actually says that the quick link that you use, you should never replace it, because the quick link is wearing away at the same speed as the chain. So in theory, if you're taking the chain off every time and you replace it with a new quick link, it could break the chain in theory and you could crash. But I find it's easiest just doing it like this. Head's getting cold, so I've just got me dirty clothes on today. I don't mind them getting dirty. So as I was saying, in a previous video I was talking about how I'd been hit by a car, and I thought there was some more we could talk about with that. Now, have you been hit by a car? Or do you know anyone else that's been hit by a car? I can tell you it hurts a lot. Now for me, I was out on the open road, and obviously if you saw the other video, I'm not really able to talk about it because the legal stuff is still going on. It happened about 3-4 months ago. But I was thinking, do you think that there should be, well, worse punishment for the car drivers? But there are also other things that I think we can do for cyclists to take precaution. You have to forgive the noises. There's a lot of noise in suburbia apparently. Now I ride with a little mirror on my bike, and I would recommend to anyone, whether they're serious about riding a bike or not, that they always have a mirror on their bike. Now, it's obviously not 100% fail safe. There's always, someone, if they're going to hit you, they're going to hit you. But I find that if I have the mirror and I maybe hear an engine coming that's really close, it maybe would give me that just extra moment where I could move out the way, or it would be a bit safer, wouldn't it? But I know a lot of people, when you mention that they have the bike mirror on the bike, they squirm and they don't like the thought of it on their bike because it's not cool or traditional or whatever. But I would say being hit by a car from behind, bike mirror is definitely something that I think everyone should have on their bike, regardless of how fit or how much experience you have. It's a definite must to keep safer on the road. Now, is it looking any cleaner yet? You'll have to forgive today. It's been very wet here in the UK, and where I live I mostly ride a lot on the sort of smaller farm track roads with mud and whatnot from the tractors, and more suburbia. Now I'm just using a brush to really get into the chain. Say you could use the more expensive methods like the ultrasonic cleaners or whatever you call them, but I find that if I'm not talking to you, I would be doing this much quicker, but it gets most of the dirt out. There's never any grit noises or anything after I've cleaned it, so getting the brush really in there. And now there's no harsh chemicals today, just soap and water. Now, are more people being hit by cars, or are there more people complaining about how scary it is to cycle on the road? Well, I know that a lot of people that I meet that aren't inverted commas cyclists, but they maybe have an interest in wanting to use the bike to commute or whatever. They say that they don't because it's too scary to ride a bike on the open roads. But I think there are some things that we can do to mitigate against this feeling of being scared. Say one of them is a bike mirror, definitely. A nice bright red light, rear red light, being dressed, in a colour that really catches the eye, so neon green, neon orange, not just wearing a black helmet, a black top, black shorts, black glasses, everything black, and having no visibility. I mean, the amount of times that I've said, you really need to be dressed so that people can see you out on the road. And I understand that you'd want to say, well, in a perfect world, it doesn't matter what I wear, I shouldn't be hit by someone driving while I'm out on my bike. But that's just not the case. I mean, the amount of people that I see every day while I'm out riding who are driving and they're on their phone texting, or I don't know what they're doing. I mean, the worst time to see it is when you're in traffic, stopped in traffic, and maybe the other way stopped as well, or you're going down the side of traffic or going through, and you see people when they're stopped in their car, even then they're just on their phone. So I would say being dressed to be visible rather than to what necessarily you want to wear. And I understand if you're wearing just black clothing, it's a lot easier to clean and whatnot. But if you think about if someone's using their phone and they don't want to be seen while they're texting or whatever, then they're going to hold the phone down sort of in their lap while they're driving, and then it can't be seen below the level of the window if the police or whatever came past. So they're going to be looking down. So if you're out on the road and they coming up behind you and you're dressed in black, while they're texting or whatever on their phone, the driver, they're going to look down and look up periodically, however many seconds, 5, 10, 15 seconds or whatnot, between looking up and looking down. And if you're just dressed in black and they look up just for a short amount of time, then look back down, and they just see a black figure like just merging into the background, they might not necessarily realise that you're a cyclist on the road, and then, you know, bam. But if you're wearing some neon green or a light or whatever, and they look up, they'll see you, and that will catch their eye, and you won't just blend into the background. And it's not a perfect world, so you can't just say, well, I'm going to wear whatever I want because I should be able to. And I agree, you should be able to, but that's just not the world that we live in, unfortunately. So yeah, definitely a green top or a green helmet, neon green. I think that's looking a bit better. Now, do you know anyone that was hit by a car, or if you were, do you know what they were wearing? Were they wearing bright colours, or were they wearing, you know, just all in black? I know that seems to be the fashion at the moment. But the analogy that I like to use is, if S.W.A.T were dressed in neon green, would they be visible? I mean, don't they dress in black not to be seen tactically or whatever? And then you have police who are dressed all in green, neon green or whatever, and they're very easily visible, aren't they, on the road and the police car. And again, the SWAT van or whatever, it's all in black and it disappears into the background. And surely that's a fair analogy for our attitude, maybe. I know that when I see some people, and maybe they're just following the fashion or whatever, all in black, and I just feel like I want to see a brand that does black clothing put SWAT on the back or whatever, and then, but yeah, I think definitely clothing is very important to be seen. So we're almost done with the drive chain. Moving on to the bike next. That's the drive train. That's the drive chain. That's the drive chain done. Now for the rest of the bike. Now, whenever I see a new driver on the road, so like the kids I remember in school, you know, they all wanted to drive, and you think it's a scary thought of a 17, 18-year-old behind the wheel. But when you think about the way maybe people drive. For example, if it's a father in his 40s or 50s driving as aggressive as he does, this particular person, and they maybe have a family and responsibilities, and you think someone like that who has the understanding of the consequences of their actions, you think, still behaves, like they do, and you think, well, I understand it as a kid or a new driver because they don't necessarily have that experience of life yet, but it's scary when you're seeing people who you think you could trust, maybe in life. It's like your co-worker, or to think that they go out and maybe then drive like they do on the roads. I know not everyone is bad. There are definitely some considerate drivers, people who drive, and maybe it's because they have family members or whatever, or friends that cycle, and it maybe affects the way that they behave. Maybe. I hope so. Now again, I've just got, it's just soap and water and an old kitchen cloth. Super easy. Doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. So if you're a new driver, let's say 17, and let's say from tomorrow you're old enough and you've done your tests and whatnot, do you think it's fair that when you're being given your new license, your driving license, that you should perhaps sign a document, or whatever it might be, a legal binding document that says you understand that from the way you drive, the car, the motor vehicle, can be used essentially as a weapon? And obviously in other parts of the world there's issues with that, weapons freely available and whatnot, but that you should understand the consequences of your actions, and that if you use the car in such a way that endangers life and you end up, maybe running down a cyclist or a human being on a bicycle, that the consequences of the result of the death of the cyclist should be that that individual has to serve life for murder. If they understand that if they do hit someone with their car, they have the potential to, kill them, whether a cyclist, a runner, or whatever. If a deer runs out and you hit it, the deer's gonna die, isn't it? So we understand, I think we understand that the car has the potential to take life like that. Is that fair, do you think? Should there be stricter laws regarding driving? Maybe that might put people off wanting to drive a car, especially if they live somewhere where they could cycle to work or get public transport, or maybe even get a lift. I don't know. I think it would perhaps deter people a bit more from the ease of just getting in a car, or the excitement of having a new license and supposedly the freedom that they think it gives them. Just let's not lie about it. The bicycle is the pinnacle of freedom and adventure, not the car. In case you're wondering. Now you're wondering what bike this is. This is a giant TCR SL rim brake 2024 frame. Now this is the frame that I now have because the old one was a write-off from being hit by a car. And if you want to find out more about the frame, then I did a video on it, and if you want to see more, then remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss more. When I post a video, it'll come up. Is it looking cleaner yet? Now, I didn't show you in detail what it was like before because I was a bit ashamed about how dirty it was. I mean, it'd been raining and I didn't really have the motivation to clean it. But together, I think we're passing the time much easier. So motivation is up. Now I have to apologise about the audio today. Again, living in suburbia is not particularly quiet all the time, especially if you've got dogs. Now, I'm not trying to spread any hate, but if you have dogs as pets, it's not just you that has them. You have to, especially if the dog likes the sound of its own voice, as some people do, then you share the dogs with your neighbours. So there you go. Just some insight. No hate, just I think it's funny. Anyway, gonna wash it down with some water. Not using a hose, just a bucket with two separate buckets. So one bucket with soapy water to clean the drive chain. I keep that separate because any grit residue stays in that bucket. And then another bucket to clean the rest of the bike so that the dirt and contamination doesn't spread between the two buckets from the grit from the drive chain to the rest of the bike. And then I'm just going to get this bucket that I've used to clean the bike, rinse out the soap, and then just water, and then hose the bike down with the bucket and clean off the soap. And then hello, there's crazy people here, crazy people. Just a little bit more needed. Nice. Well, that's not looking too bad, is it? Just need to dry it off and then lube it. Now I'm doing a hill climb tomorrow, and the weather looks like it's going to be terrible. So my routine is I dry it off, and I'm going to use squirt lube to lube the chain. Now it's sort of around, I think it's about 1 or 2 in the afternoon now, and the race is about, I'm off at about 11, so it's going to be early start. But essentially I won't lube it now. I'm going to dry the chain off, and then I'm going to wait until the evening, and then I'm going to lube it so that hopefully most of the water is evaporated from the chain. Again, I'm not looking for every single individual watt. The lube, squirt lube, is really efficient, and yeah, you can wax chain, but I find that using squirt lube is it's really easy to apply, and you don't need to have all the faff and routine that you need with waxing and whatnot. So just keep it simple. I think if you make stuff complicated, it takes away from the motivation to want to ride the bike. So keep it simple, I think, is the takeaway from today, among other things. No WD-40 was used in the recording of this video. I repeat, no WD-40. Yes, I will be doing hill climbs and road races on this bike. So if you're interested in learning about that and perhaps what to eat, fuel for that, then remember to subscribe. Well, there you have it, a nice clean bike. And the last test, can we hear any grit in the chain? Oh, no, it's good, isn't it? That's just soap and water and a brush. Now, if any of the things that I talked about in this video stirred some emotions or thoughts, or you'd like to hear more about the racing or nutrition, then subscribe and like the video, and you won't miss out on any more videos coming up. Now, I've got a hill climb tomorrow, hill climb race, so I'll probably make a video about that, so that'll be coming up soon. Anyway, thank you for your company today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. I think someone's making up for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice horsepower.